Hello everyone, welcome to a special edition of Talking GOP. I'm your host, Gabriel Montalvo. We are here in Mineola, right in front of their government building here, where we're protesting the unconstitutionality of Emperor Cuomo. As you can see, we have a whole bunch of protesters and supporters here of our Constitution and First Amendment rights, which are being violated not only by Cuomo, but people like Big Bird, the dope from Park Slope, Bill de Blasio. We have people from all different races, nationalities, creeds, and orientations, not only honking to show their support, but also here to show some love for their country with flags and signs. So we're going to do some interviews and see what people have to say about this. So here I have with me Evan Ross, host of the Empire State Conservatives podcast, as well as co-creator. Evan, why are you out here today?
We are here to stand up for our First Amendment rights, to petition the government. We want the state to reopen. The governor is not allowing us to do this. They are shutting down free speech everywhere. We are telling him we will not be silenced. We are going to stand up as free Americans for our rights.
How do you think the turnout is today?
I am pleasantly surprised. I thought, with the weather that it was going to be kind of a washout, but people are here in force and they're here to stand up. We're getting a lot of support from people driving by, so I'm very happy with it.
What do you think about the people who say that you're being selfish for wanting to open up the country?
I mean, it's not selfish to look after other people. I have a job where I still have an income. So for me, it's no real change in terms of money coming in. But I'm worried about the people who don't have incomes, people who are being laid off, the small business owner. They're the fabric of this country. We need to stand up for them. If they can't stand up for themselves, too many people are afraid because they're afraid to lose their jobs. So we have to be out here speaking for them.
So are you saying it's wrong to print out more and more money?
That we all know what what Germany did before World War II with inflation. It ruined the country. It's the last thing we want, is to end up in financial ruin.
It's gonna get worse. Thank you. Now tell everyone at home where they can find you.
You can check us out on Facebook at Empire State Conservatives, or check out our website at EmpireStateConservaNetwork.com, and all our podcasts and our store and everything is on there.
Yeah. Also, watch the Reopen America episode. I think you'll really like what the guest has to say on that one.
Great guest on that episode.
Great guest. Here I have Mike G. I would say that you've become an activist and independent journalist about what's been happening in our hospitals, and you've been silenced by Facebook twice now. I mean, what are your thoughts about what's happening, what the media's portraying?
Well, two things I want to talk about is the fact that we've been hearing about conservatives being censored on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. I felt that this week, after we had a very successful rally last week in Albany, and all of a sudden that same day Facebook locked me out, gave me a 30-day ban. What I felt is that not only was Zuckerberg honest about what he said to the media he's going to do, he actually said that he's going to shut down Facebook pages that are organizing Operation Gridlock. It happened to me. I opened up a second Facebook account, and what happened right after? Got shut down as well. So my question is to Attorney General Barr. You've made a promise. You're going to go after the censorship of conservatives on social media. Where is that promise? Whatever happened? I love Attorney General Barr. He's been in office long enough, and I think it's time for him, instead of saying that we're working on it, it's time to actually come out and show what are you doing to stop the ban and the censorship of conservatives. And this is not about Trump. This is not about AG Barr. It's not about conservative versus liberals. Censorship of anybody in social media has to stop now.
And what have you been finding when you've been visiting these hospitals?
So basically what inspired me is that in the beginning of the COVID-19, I think just like every other American, we were shocked. We didn't know what was happening. We didn't know what was true, what was false, fiction versus reality. I decided to go out to the hospitals and film the hospitals myself. Eventually the videos went viral all of a sudden. It started with Elmhurst Hospital. Elmhurst Hospital was considered death hospital before COVID-19 came along. My videos basically are there for you to decide. What I found out is that hospitals were not busy whatsoever. They lied to us. Yes, people died, but guess what? 99% of those that died in COVID-19 had pre-existing conditions. End of story. They lied to us. We know. We're not denying people died. But they sold us a bill of goods.
What have you been seeing? We know that Bill de Blasio recently made a tweet against the Jewish community. What have you been seeing in Brooklyn with the Hasidic community specifically?
As somebody that lives in Borough Park amongst the Hasidic Jews, I'm not religious. I'm an atheist. De Blasio, you are nothing short of a Nazi, sending in the NYPD, acting as Gestapo and capos. And to those telling me not to use the word Nazi, here it's from one Jew to the rest of you. My grandmother was in Auschwitz. I will use the word Nazi. We have the First Amendment right to use it. If you don't like it, don't use it. But guess what? The Gestapos and the capos were Jews who ratted out the Jews in World War II. The capo said, I want to save my ass, so I'm going to rat out other Jews. The Gestapo said the same thing. To any cop out there who swore an oath to the Constitution, call in sick if you don't feel comfortable. Arresting any American over not wearing a mask, arresting anyone over not social distancing, you have basically violated your oath to the Constitution.
Amen, brother.
Call in sick if you don't feel comfortable doing that. To those cops right there, my word, my call to you is the American Constitution comes first, not your job. To those people going onto my social media, to my Instagram, saying, but they're just doing their job. No, they're not. I feel bad that that person is your husband. I don't care. The Nazis said the same thing. I will call them out. I will say it again now. And all of us should come together and say the same thing. Don't do it. Call in sick, do whatever it takes.
Thank you, Mike, for that very heartfelt story and that message. I'm sure many people here share your same sentiment.
I have criticized the Jewish community in the beginning when a few of them came, did funerals and all that stuff. They went to synagogue and they didn't stop. I'll criticize them when the time is right. Now, what de Blasio did when thousands of people were cheering the flyovers, thousands of people were cheering in Manhattan, the nurses in FDNY. They weren't social distancing. Most of them didn't wear masks. De Blasio had the chutzpah to come out. And yes, I'll say it again. He chose one faction over the rest of New York City. Shame on you, de Blasio. Shame on the NYPD yesterday in Borough Park when I watched them arrest Hasidic Jews. Shame on them.
I am here with the famous Joe Murray, who ran for
Queens District Attorney. Thank you.
You're very welcome, and we're
Good
happy
to see you again.
Thank you. Good to see you too. We're happy to have you out here in Mineola with us to show your patriotism and support. And what is your message for being out here today?
You know, I'm so happy to come out to see everyone here because, you know, when the government takes action to restrict our freedoms, they can only do that in the most narrow and strictest ways, in the least restrictive way, I should say, the least restrictive way to accomplish the goal. And in this case, the goal is to prevent the spread of this virus. Well, if people that are high risk or have been exposed or have had the virus, they should be quarantined, and that's what they do. I've done some legal research in the past. This is what they do. If someone is sick, exposed, or has symptoms, the law allows them to quarantine them for 2 to 3 weeks to make sure they're not infectious. Here, we've completely flipped the switch. We're taking all the healthy people and quarantining them. And I don't like it. It's too restrictive. They're putting people out of business. There's people in all kinds of financial turmoil. Suicides are up. Domestic violence is up. Other crime is up. And, you know, if we're forcing people to stay home and away from their business, how are we going to recover from this? You know, there's another great concern that the government, at least New York State, was in such financial distress already. And now if this continues, what are they going to do? Start dipping into the pension funds and eliminating pensions? They're talking about bankruptcy, that the state can file bankruptcy. That's absolute insanity. It's unnecessary. And the people coming out here sending a message, we have to fight back. We have to fight against this.
I agree. And how do you feel that in New York City they're releasing criminals, but they're keeping us indoors?
You know, I have a big problem with that because, as you know, I ran for Queens District Attorney, and closing Rikers Island was a big issue. So the thing that I point to the most, which I think makes the most sense, the president came in here with the Army Corps and Engineers, and they converted the Jacob Javits Center, a convention center, in 1 week to a 1,200-bed COVID hospital. That's amazing. We have empty jail facilities on Rikers Island. Nobody asked, but they could have just asked to come over there, take this empty facility and make it a COVID inmate hospital. And then for the high-risk inmates, take one of the facilities, take one of the other empty facilities and put your high-risk people there. There was no reason to release them. But this is what they're trying to do. They're trying to ram this stuff down our throat. 1,500 people released from Rikers Island because of this. It's outrageous.
Thank you so much. And you're actually one of the most positive and well-received guests and episodes we actually had on our show.
No kidding.
Yeah,
I love it. So let's do it again.
Yeah, definitely. We'd love to have you. We still haven't even gotten beneath the surface of how stuff like bail reform has gone. And it seems like whenever we talk to you, more of our rights are being restricted and this world gets turned upside down.
That is the biggest message today. Our rights, our freedoms are being taken away from us. And my goal is that we don't just let them. We fight back and push back. You know, the government needs to now fear the people a little more. We're going to come out. We're going to protest. We're going to call you out when you're doing stuff that we don't agree with. And that's what I hope to promote. And thank you for doing that.
Thank you for your time.
Appreciate it, Gabe. Good seeing you.
Good seeing you. All right. Today I'm with
Tina and Marilyn.
And from what I'm told, these are some small business owners here in New York. And what have your experiences been since this shutdown has happened, started?
My employees were working for the first 2 weeks when they shut everyone down because we were listed as essential businesses. My husband is an architect, and somebody complained that we were open, so they came into our business with the fire marshal and shut us down and sent my employees home. And I've been trying to go through the process to get the SBA loans and come across every kind of obstacle that you can think of. And now they've made a mistake on my loan application. I can't seem to get it corrected. And my accountant tells me that the money from the PPP program has to be used between May 1st and June 30th. And I told her our employees can't even come back till the soonest at May 15th if Cuomo lets us come back. And she said, it doesn't matter, you got to put them on payroll with that money starting on the 1st. But I haven't even received that money. And I'm still getting a runaround from the bank and the SBA, and everybody blames everybody else for the holdup.
I've had the same experience. I haven't brought a dime into my household since the beginning of March, and I applied for unemployment. I applied for the PPP program. I didn't get my stimulus check. I don't have a dime coming into a household of 4 people.
Right, and I also did not get the stimulus payment, and I can't get anywhere on IRS.gov either.
What do you tell the people who say that it's selfish to reopen the economy, that it's wrong and that we're just thinking of ourselves, that we need to continue to flatten the curve? What is your message to them?
Well, what's selfish is the people that don't have to go anywhere or are collecting government benefits and then turning around and telling us that we're being selfish. But there's a whole army of people that are enabling them to stay at home and shelter. And what about those people? Aren't you being selfish by wanting to stay home while you're being taken care of and we're not?
And I also believe in the beginning, everybody was on the same page. They asked us to flatten the curve, stay home for 2 weeks, let's not overrun the hospitals. We did that. They asked us to extend it another 2 weeks. Everybody was fine with that, but at this point, this is going to cause a lot more damage and devastate the whole economy, which we're not going to be able to dig out from in my lifetime. I'm close to retirement, and I wasn't planning on now first deciding what I want to be when I grow up because my business is gone.
It's a real shame that this is happening to the backbone of the American economy. Is there anything else that you would like to add?
Yeah, I'd like to add something.
Sure, ma'am. Your name is?
Debbie. Okay.
She's also a business owner.
Okay. What numbers aren't going to be counted are the people who commit suicide. Suicides are already way up, and I've been saying this all along. I have a brother who suffers from mental illness, and I'm for sure something's going to happen to him. So those are the people who aren't going to be counted, the people who are going to commit suicide, have heart attacks, strokes, because of financial ruin.
And the voices that aren't going to be heard because they're not going to be here anymore.
They're not going to be counted. They're just not going to be counted. I know they're not going to be counted.
Their
The only
lives
people who
matter.
are being
Their
counted
lives
are the
matter
voters.
too.
Right. Well, thank you so much for your time. I'm here with,
Triple D.
and I hear that you're also another small business owner here on Long Island. How has this affected you?
Look, the death rate is downwardly trending. Everything is pointing in the direction of opening. Why not? Children are not transmitting this disease. I mean, we could go on and on. It's time for the shutdown to end.
How does it feel to be deemed that the government is deeming people essential or non-essential?
Isn't that interesting? Isn't that interesting? You know, you can go to the health food store, you can go to the supermarket, you can go to the bank, you got to stand 6 feet apart. Why can't you just let the restaurant owners figure out how to seat people 6 feet apart? I know they're concerned about the servers and the other people that are doing, you know, the work in the restaurant. Figure it out. Let the owners figure it out. I think it'll all happen. I think it's time to open up the country. You know, I want to get my dry cleaning back. It's been gone for a month and a half. You know, I just think all these little businesses are not going to make it. It's going to be a shame. And the real consequence is the social consequence. So these abused children are winding up, whether it's molesting or abused in the ER, and they're battered, and they got to go home to the same situation. I mean, it's alcoholism. Society is, you know, we're just on a downward trend. We got to open back up. There are people that are sitting inside. I was watching Channel 4 News. They have all the greatest baseball players saying, stay inside, be on the team, stay home, stay home, stay home. I couldn't believe what I was seeing on TV. You need vitamin D. You need to be outside. You need other people. You got to stop this insanity.
So you also brought up an interesting point, which the former ladies over there that we spoke with also brought up, which was the social aspect of it and the mental health aspect of it, of this situation.
And suicides, everything is on the increase. Everything. We got to stop that. We got to get people back to normal. You know, one child that has a problem today that gets abused, molested, whatever, down the road, they're going to be a cost to society, a cost to me and you, a cost to everyone. They'll do something bad, weird. They'll become not their potential as humans. It's going to be a bad thing.
How have your employees handled this situation?
Well, I furloughed all of them, and I just opened up a little bit the other day, and we're just opened 2 hours a day, 3 days a week. But, you know, my employees don't want to come in because they're afraid of COVID, and I have no fear really of it. You know, what's very interesting is that I'm wearing this mask, and one of the things is that I don't want to be known. I turned off my cell phone. I don't want them to know where I am. I mean, I'm an American. I have the First Amendment right. We have freedom of speech, you know, hello. And I feel like I'm losing all that.
Well, thank you so much for sharing your time and your story. Hello, I'm now here with,
Kelly Flaherty.
and I hear, from what you just said over there, that you are in the medical field.
Yes, I am. I'm a nurse.
And how is it, it's so ironic that someone in the medical field is actually supporting, you know, this sort of rally, while so many us on social media and in the news have condemned it.
Well, there are a lot of healthcare workers that would support this. They just happen to not be able to get out and do stuff because we're all working so hard.
Right, and obviously you being out here shows that it's important for people to experience and to show their First Amendment rights in this level.
That's why I'm out here. I understand. I've seen people pass away personally. I'm not happy about it. I'm sad about it. But I've also drove down the street in my neighborhood with my 16-year-old and saw people standing on the street corners, and I'm asking him, why are these people on street corners? He's like, Mom, they're waiting for the food pantry to drop food off. And I started crying. People are not being able to feed their children. They're not being able to work and pay their rent. There's a lot going on, and I do believe that social distancing, yes, maybe at the moment I'm not wearing my mask, but I get it, do it slow. But, you know, you got Home Depot open, you've got Walmart open. Okay, these little businesses usually have 1 or 2 people coming into their stores at a time, usually, and they come in, you know, like there's no reason. I think they're holding us hostage. I think this is against the Constitution, and I think that, you know, we need to, thank God President Trump said no more. He's not doing the social distancing rule anymore, and love you, Trump 2020.
One of my final things that we're going to talk about here, do you think that we have given up as a country, our rights for and correct me if I'm wrong with the percentage here, but over 97% survivability rate with this virus.
Absolutely. And the problem is too many people are watching the wrong media and they're paying attention to the wrong things. And if they would just do a little bit of research, they will see that, like they said, I think it was 0.003%. And yes, that is people. And unfortunately, they're going to say, well, I'm heartless. And like I said, I just got off a post with somebody and they were like, how do you believe that when you're a nurse? I see it for myself. I know we have deaths that were put as COVID and they weren't COVID. They were tested negative. And everything is getting to COVID. Everything. So I think the numbers are wrong. And, you know, we're not really allowed to say hoax, but I don't think it's a hoax as much as it's just been a political scam to get the president to not be reelected in November. And that's my opinion. And Joe Biden's a pervert.
Thank you very much. You heard that first, ladies and gentlemen. I'm here with
Bob Unger.
And you're a small business owner. And how has this affected you, the situation?
Well, I'm a lawyer, but don't hold it against me. And of course, anyone in the legal business, especially if you're doing transactions or if you have to go to court, obviously that's not happening, and the transactions are once in a while you can do a virtual, but very rare. But I'm not the issue. The issue is this is shutting down the country, and this is their goal, because what they want to do is destroy small business. That was the whole goal of the Communist Manifesto, if any Americans would ever actually read, which these days most Americans cannot read, thanks to the government schools. But if you read the Communist Manifesto, you'll see that Karl Marx never attacks the super rich. He was financed by the super rich. He only attacks what he calls the bourgeoisie. Those are small business people, and they're going to be wiped out from this. The whole idea is to make the government more powerful, take away your liberty. You know, the rights that we have are inalienable. That means you can't give them away, you can't sell them, you can't rent them. It says in the Declaration of Independence, we are endowed by our Creator with certain inalienable rights. So there is no power in the government to stop you from going to church. There's no power in the government to tell you what you can do. All of this is 100% illegal, whether it comes out of Trump's mouth or Cuomo or any of the rest of these jokers. This whole thing is unconstitutional. But try to find an American that would know the Constitution if I smacked him in the face with it.
And so you're saying that the communist government is known for using the proletariat to influence the rest of the nation, essentially.
Well, when you get everybody broke, people will give it, as Benjamin Franklin said, if you're going to give up your freedom for security, you'll wind up with neither freedom or security. And that's what's happened. The average person, for a bowl of porridge, will give up their liberty. And that's how they wind up in concentration camps in Auschwitz.
Thank you very much for your time, sir. I'm here with
David Gardner.
And you, what is your business that you run?
I am a dentist here on Long Island, and I have a private practice.
How has this shutdown affected you?
It's been, from a business perspective, it's been terrible. I've had to furlough my entire staff. Obviously, it's had an effect on my family, and more importantly, my patients. It's affected. I have been able to treat emergencies, but many of my patients do have some urgent care that needs to be addressed, and obviously I'm a law-abiding citizen, so I've followed the mandate and remained closed. So it's had a severe effect on my business and the well-being of those people that I take care of.
And what is the message you have for people that, you know, why are you out here today?
Well, I'm out here because, you know, there's a responsible way to do things and to reopen New York. We're not stupid people. Personally, as a healthcare provider, I've been practicing infection control procedures throughout my career, and I will continue to do so, and to also add additional infection control protocols in order to keep my patients safe, keep their families safe, and keep my staff members safe as well. So that's really my message. You know, it's enough. It really is enough. That's it.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Here I'm with,
Maheen Lemon.
and why are you out here today?
I'm here to protest basic human rights and for the fact that my mother started her business in our kitchen almost 20 years ago and now it's being destroyed because of Cuomo's stupid, idiotic decision to lock us down. That's pretty much why I'm here. Plus, I'm very patriotic. I love being an American.
What do you think about the people that tell you that you're being selfish for wanting to open up the economy in the country?
What I have to say to them is, everyone is entitled to their own opinion. I don't follow the mainstream media. I've always marched to my own drum, and it's lasted me this long. I'm happy, I'm healthy. I don't follow what everyone else does, and actually my health is a lot better than those people that are preaching about staying at home.
And what is it that you do on the side when political activism and whatnot?
I do things online through social media, but honestly, I'm not that into activism as I should be, mainly because I never had a reason to up until recently.
And is recently because of the Trump bug that passed around in 2016, or because you've seen what people are willing to give up due to this virus?
It's both, actually. It's both. I never was into the whole bipartisan thing to begin with. I don't even want to call myself a libertarian. I just have common sense and I use that. And that's where I stand as far as politics go.
So patriotism above all else.
Always. Being an American above all the time.
That's awesome. Anything that you'd like to leave our viewers off with?
Just, spread honesty, spread truth, love each other. You could, if you're scared, that's fine, but there are ways where we can open up safely and we don't have to be under the scrutiny of lockdown. It's totally fine if you want to stay home. That's your right, but it's also our right to be out and to enjoy the public and to do the things that we love to do.
Thank you so much.
No problem. Thank you.
I'm here with
New York freedom fighter.
a New York freedom fighter. And what is your message for being out here today?
My message is that I believe that Cuomo does not speak for all New Yorkers. He does not represent how all New Yorkers feel, and I feel like what is going on with the quarantine is it's not so simple. It's not a one-size-fits-all approach that should be taken. I think that the statistics may not be so transparent. There's a lot of fear around this whole thing, and the virus, although it is real, it is happening. People are dying. The numbers are going down, and at the same time, the lockdown it's just the heavy hand is not loosening up, and I think it is going to cause some economic turmoil for New York, which we cannot afford. With unemployment and people waiting for unemployment, with people who have mental health issues, people who are elderly, living by themselves. It just goes on and on. Everybody knows what basically what that entails.
Right. And do you see this as a left or a right issue, or do you see this as an American issue?
I think this is an American issue. I feel like small business is the fabric of America. I feel that the regulations don't make sense even, like open up the churches. Why is this open and not that? Why are people being asked to get up, elderly people from the beach, and escorted to get up and move? Why can't people breathe in fresh air? I understand people want to wear masks, and that's your prerogative. Fresh air, sunshine, exercise, walks, being around loved ones. I think it's, I don't think it's an easy answer. I think that what we're doing is not progressive, and I believe that New York's ready to progress safely, slowly, and start getting back to work little by little. And hey, like I said to somebody before, for instance, if you want to, like Cuomo, if you want to open up a park and have somebody there watching and let 5 kids play at once and take turns, something's got to be progressive here. We are stagnant right now. We're going backwards. It's affecting us. You could see people are not happy about it. He does not represent every New Yorker, and it is not a one-size-fits-all approach, okay? So, like this says, protect the fabric of America, which is small business, okay? Cuomo in one of his press conferences, but did they die, okay? You know, it's not so black and white, Cuomo. Mass exodus of New York, and he's good with that. He's all right with that, okay? Everybody knows he favors NYC. Okay, what about upstate, Western New York? What about Long Island, okay? He does not represent everybody. He does not deserve that raise, and people are ready to go back to work, and people are ready to hug their families, okay? Like I said, the virus is real. Protect the medically fragile. Protect the pregnant. Protect the sick. Protect the elderly. Practice your safety measures. Practice if you just don't feel comfortable. But do not suppress everyone else's immune systems. Quarantine is not healthy for the healthy body. It is not.
Thank you so much for your time. You're welcome. I'm here with
Thomas Malo.
And how has this pandemic affected you in your life?
Well, and I have a special needs son, and because of this whole thing now, his whole routine is all upside down. He's, we're worried about regression, because children like him need constant stimulation, So there's a lot of things that are really bad. I mean, mostly for him, yeah, but then again, then it comes down to me and bringing home money and wondering, one of the biggest bus companies on Long Island just went out of business, closed their door, 900 people unemployed. So it's been very tough, especially on my son. And for all the parents of special needs children who are out there trying to keep these kids occupied and busy doing different things, very, very difficult. I mean, we do it for a couple hours, but to do it all day, 7 days a week, is really difficult.
Is there anything else you'd like to add, sir?
No, I just we need to open up this state and get back to work, man. Because look, we're healthy. I'll wear a mask. I'll do whatever they want me to do, but I need to go back to work.
Thank you so much for your time.
Absolutely.
Ladies and gentlemen, this has been another edition of Talking GOP, a special online edition that will be featured on our social media first, before it even airs on television. Our studio has been closed down for a couple of weeks, but this is what we came out here to do, to show you how this pandemic has really affected the small business owner, the backbone of the American economy, people from different walks of life who are self-made, how they are now struggling due to how some will call it the planned-demic at this point, where we've seen a flatten in the curve. We've seen death rates go down here in New York, and yet we still find them. And yet we still find our legislation keeping us closed. Behind me is the great Republican Teddy Roosevelt. I'm sure that he wouldn't have stood for any of this what's happening now. The flag is being flown at half-mast, and I can only hope that it's being flown because we're aware of the injustices that are happening on the American people. To all of you, stay safe. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you again next time.